Geber, you're up.
All right, welcome to the show, World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA Radio Network. I'm Nick Geber with Danny Page today, and, well, each and every day we do this show, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. There is a plethora of football goodness for everybody to enjoy. Today, no different. We took a break yesterday for the President's Day holiday, and we're back, Nick and Danny. Danny, did you have a good holiday weekend?
Yeah, I had a great little weekend, Nick. Looking forward to, we'll get into the FA Cup a little bit. Obviously, we'll talk about PSG, Leverkusen. But to me, today, it's all about Barcelona and their performance against Manchester City, showing that they still are very much the team to beat in Europe outside of Bavaria. Good stuff ahead tonight, Nick. Yeah,
you think so? I don't know. We may have a little debate about that. But, yeah, Champions League is definitely the big topic today, and we'd love for you to participate. 800-878-PLAY, 800-878-PLAY. Here's what's on the agenda today, folks. We're going to start off, talk a little FA Cup action as we look back over the weekend's FA Cup action. We'll move on from that. We'll get into a couple of stories, and then, of course, the Champions League. We'll talk about the matches today. We've got a couple of matches tomorrow. We're going to hear from Nick Webster with his view from the terraces. We're also going to speak with Kartik Krishnaiyer in the last segment here, talking about his beloved Manchester City and the enormous hill they have to climb right now. All right, 800-878-PLAY, 800-878-PLAY. Find us on Twitter, at World Soccer Radio. Feels weird to get back in the saddle after 3 days off, Danny. We do the show seemingly every day, and a couple of days off kind of throws me for a loop.
I would say I've missed you, but that would just be a complete and utter lie at this point. So I've missed our listeners, though, and we're happy to be back in the saddle with a whole mess of matches to discuss. I'll be monitoring our Twitter machine today. Get in touch with us at World Soccer Radio, or give us a ring, 800-878-PLAY. That's 800-878-PLAY.
All right, so that's that. We're going to take a break here, and we'll be back in a little bit, but I just want to remind you, once again, 800-878-PLAY for in studio. If you want to give us a call, and of course, you can also tweet us at World Soccer Radio. That's at World Soccer Radio. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about Wayne Rooney, and he's re-signing supposedly a very big contract. I'll give you the details when we come back. I'm going to give you my take on it. I'd love to hear from yours. Manchester United fans, are you happy with this? Are you happy with this? Do you want Wayne Rooney to re-sign at his age? A guy that said he want a want-away player twice? Come on, guys, let's get the phone lit. 800-878-PLAY. Give us a call. Let us know how you feel. All right, Nick Geber and Danny Page, big hello to our men and women in uniform listening around the world on American Forces. We're going to step aside, take a break, and we'll be right back. World Soccer Radio right here on the Sports Byline Network. right, welcome back. World Soccer Radio, Nick Geber and Danny Page with you. 800-878-PLAY, 800-878-PLAY. So, Danny, I had a relatively interesting weekend.
I don't know if anybody wants to hear about that.
No, I popped off to Vegas for the Pro Soccer Challenge at the Silver Bowl, what is now Sam Boyd Stadium, to see two of MLS's worst teams play a friendly match. I saw the Colorado Rapids play the soon-to-be rebranded Chivas USA, the soon-to-be Los Angeles Football Club. And I tell you,
is that inside info, Nick? Is that like a unheard info before coming from you? Is that a scoop?
No, it was on NBCProSoccerTalk.com. Had a story about it, and then Jorge Vergara actually was quoted as saying that it is something. When he was asked about it, he did what Jorge always does, which is he was brutally honest. He said, we're looking at it, we're talking about it, and I think it'll be a good thing. I mean, they need to get out of StubHub Center and get their own identity, but I believe they're looking at possibly Long Beach City College, so, you know, possibilities. Anyhow, that's not the story. The story is I went out to Vegas to see this match, to see the two teams play. It was not a great game. It was won by Chivas, 2-1, a couple penalties along the way. But really? I had fun. It's always fun to go out and see some pro ball, Danny.
Pro soccer.
It's always fun to go out and see. And there was a good turnout. 13,000 people showed up for it, which is, not bad. I mean,
did you have a hot dog and a beer, man?
No, I didn't. But, it was funny. 12 to 13,000 people showed up in Vegas to see Chivas. But Chivas don't get but 1,500 to 3,000 people here in L.A. when they play. So, go figure. But, look, we'll come back to the whole U.S. soccer as we get closer to the launch. And, of course, we're in the MLS friendlies times. But right now we're on Champions League weekend coming off the back of Champions League week coming off the back of FA Cup weekend. So let's get to it, Danny. I mean, it was an interesting FA Cup weekend because...
No, it wasn't. It was
okay, fine. If the FA Cup is brought to you by a fairly dull and boring beer of Budweiser, it is indeed summed up for me the FA Cup this weekend, Danny. It was as boring as a Budweiser. It was a very dull weekend. Arsenal got their redemption. And it's funny, if you look at Arsenal, I mean, they acted like they just won the Champions League at this match. But in point of fact, number one, it was a very close match. I don't want to get into the Suarez non-penalty call. It was a penalty, but these things, these things don't iron out at the end of the year. But referees make mistakes. They're human beings. I think Howard Webb is a complete tosspot. Don't get me wrong, an utter wanker. I cannot. I do not like him. He's not a good referee. Why he's the English representative at the World Cup, I don't know. But for me, I didn't like the whining and the complaining from Brendan Rodgers about it. You know why? Because Daniel Sturridge had about 4 wide open attempts on goal that he would normally put away, and he didn't. So you can't lump it all on one penalty call. Plus, Steven Gerrard probably should have been sent off the pitch for a horror tackle. Or, should have been a second yellow, et cetera, et cetera. So I mean, look. It's just one of these things, Danny. You know when you're spending the entire week bemoaning a refereeing decision in an FA Cup game, it's been kind of a slow weekend, right?
Yeah, I think in a match like that, you really make your own bad luck. You know, you put yourself in a position where you're complaining about the referee's decision. And I think that oftentimes a big game like that, I don't want to say it can be decided in the first 10 minutes, but in some ways it can. When the away side, the side that's probably going to be on the back foot, misses 2 great opportunities, you're always going to be struggling to get back in the game. And that's what happened with Liverpool, really, in this match. Yeah, so,
again, yes, the decisions were terrible. Yes, they should have had a penalty. Yes, they probably should have had at least one player sent off in Steven Gerrard. They didn't, unfortunate, but they shouldn't have been in a position where they left it up to bad refereeing decisions. They should have put the Sturridge chances away. It wouldn't have been a game. But, oh well, whatever. For me as a Liverpool supporter, I'm happy because, honestly, I want to move on in 4th place. I want to win the Wenger Trophy this year. That is the single most important piece of silverware I want as a Liverpool supporter. I don't want the FA Cup. I want to guarantee that 4th Champions League spot. I want the Wenger Trophy. So, anyway, there you have it. Of course, the other big match was Man City getting a little redemption on Chelsea. They were up until today on their way to what seemed like a quad again. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about their quadruple. I mean, really, come on, Danny.
Well, I think that's what yes, they're on track for the FA Cup. I think that's What we learned today, though, and it's something that we talked about back when the draw came out in December, frankly, was that this team is prepared for domestic supremacy, and they're built for that, but they still just have to continue that sort of steady climb in Europe. And, it's just so interesting that over this period of 4 days, it is sort of a one step forward, two steps back type of period for Manchester City.
Well, as we said, going back to Arsenal, they discovered a modicum of pride. That was my storyline for Arsenal.
Right.
But they acted like they'd won the Premier League, and it was silly. There's big problems at Arsenal. We're going to get into them, obviously, as we continue and return to the Premier League, and also tomorrow when we look at how they do against the reigning European champions. That'll be a much more insightful view on Arsenal as to how they fare tomorrow, because we're not just comparing them to the other teams in the Premier League. We're now comparing them to possibly the best club team in the world. We can talk about Barcelona and City. We're going to do that. We're going to do that with Kartik Krishnaiyer here in a little bit, Danny. But you and I are probably going to disagree on that particular situation.
In what regard? You can't tease something later in the show and say we're going to disagree on it.
No, of course I can. I can, Danny. I can.
We got 3 minutes here. What are we going to disagree on?
Well, I don't think Barcelona looked great. I mean, I just thought they looked kind of. I mean, Di Michaelis gets sent off. City are playing with 10 men. I thought City played pretty well, actually, and it was just a momentary lapse that allowed Barcelona to score the second goal and put the tie clearly away of, out of reach of City at that point. But at 1-0, I was thinking, or at 0-1, I was thinking, if they go back to Spain, they could win this thing, because a 1-0 victory would do it for them.
Yeah, but do you really see them going to I guess we said the same thing about Chelsea 2 years ago. I just don't see them going to the new camp and winning in any respect.
Yeah,
I think
do.
they needed to get a result at home. But here's the thing, furthermore, this is the beloved, the top team in your beloved England, and they were just, in the end, and I know the sending off is circumstantial, but still, they were brushed aside by Barcelona.
Really? Did you really see it that way, Danny? Because I didn't see it that way. Honestly, I didn't see that.
Let me say this. Name one great chance for me City had to score at home.
Oh, Victor Valdez had to come up with a huge save. I don't remember who put it in, but he came up with two. He came up with two pretty big saves in the match. And you'll excuse me if I'm a little tired, so I had a long drive yesterday.
This is the best team, in England, according to many, and I just don't think they're ready for European glory. I think the way that PSG showed us today that they are ready for it.
Yeah, you see, I would take PSG over Barcelona right now.
Really?
Yeah. Barcelona did not impress me today at all. I thought they came out. I thought they looked decidedly average, good average. Let's put it that way. I mean, obviously they're not an average team by any stretch of the imagination. But were they a dominant team? Did they do to Manchester City what Liverpool did to what Liverpool did to Arsenal? No, they did not.
Do you expect any team to go to Manchester to take on City, arguably the top team in England, and be dominant? Bayern Munich did earlier in the year. I think if Bayern Munich had to go back to City, they wouldn't be dominant.
Yeah, but if you listen to the sort of global filleting of Barcelona, you would think that's what they would do. I'm just telling you, this is a good team, but they're a very good team, but they're a very good sort of averagely good team. I don't think they're incredible. I agree a little bit with what Mourinho said. I don't think this is the world's strongest Barcelona team we've seen. I think they're teams that can have at them. I thought City nearly had at them. They had nice pockets of possession. They took the game away a lot. Di Michaelis was the problem, and we were talking about this. The media have been talking about the issue of Di Michaelis for quite a while, and he just showed to be the liability that he is.
Yeah, that really was unfortunate for he and for City, but Barca were easily the better team today. I don't think you can use the sending off as an excuse. That's what happened. That's how the match progressed, and it was going to be 1-0 either way, whether Man City were down to 10 men or not.
Yeah. All right, World Soccer Radio Sports Byline USA. What do you think? Love to hear from you, 800-878-PLAY. Are you sick and tired of the world's love affair with Barcelona? Honestly, I am, and I have nothing against them. I'm just tired of it. Just decidedly a good team, but they're not that great. All right, we'll be right back after this. World Soccer Radio. All right, welcome back. World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA, Nick and Danny. Just a reminder, folks, you can interact with us via Twitter at World Soccer Radio. At World Soccer Radio, that's a great way to reach us through our Twitter account. Of course, you can always call us in the studio at 800-878-PLAY, 800-878-PLAY, as we continue our discussion of what's going on in football right now. And, of course, we do have Wayne Rooney potentially re-signing a new deal at Man United. That is a big story, Danny, and it's a big story for a lot of very interesting reasons. I think we're going to come back to that story because, in the meantime, our good friend Nick Webster has a few things he wants to get off his chest. Should we hear what Nick had to say, Danny?
Yeah, that sounds good. View from the terrace.
All right, let's do our little View from the Terraces segment with Nick Webster. Here you go.
Hello, Nick. Hello, Danny. Nick Webster here with your View from the Terraces, only from realfootytalk.com. Don't forget, you can find me at realfootytalk.com, on Facebook /realfootytalk, or at Nick Webster. What a great weekend. The FA Cup is really back, and it's back with a vengeance, and thankfully someone is messing around with the balls at old FA headquarters, serving up these really saucy ties. I mean, the pick of the bunch, obviously Chelsea against Manchester City, and you've got to say, Manuel Pellegrino, as I like to call him, really did his homework. This time, no messing around with Chelsea, because I thought Chelsea just wiped the floor with them a couple of weeks ago at the Etihad. This time around, City, very, very strong. Pellegrini using the full force of his City team, and I think that he outmaneuvered Mourinho, certainly pressurising Chelsea a lot further up the pitch than they did last time around. And maybe Mourinho outguessing himself because he is a Machiavellian little genius, but he full focus on Arsene Wenger this last week. Don't understand that, especially when he had Pellegrini. He'd sent out the bait. Pellegrini, he was almost caught, and then Mourinho turns his sights to Wenger. Strange one, that. So Arsene Wenger definitely feeling the pressure as Liverpool came to town, especially on the back of the 5-1 hiding at Anfield. And you've got to say, he did his homework as well. Instead of playing that really high line that got him into so much trouble at Anfield, certainly Arsenal played a little further off, a little bit deeper, didn't allow Liverpool to get in behind them quite as many. The big talking points of the game, though, obviously Daniel Sturridge. The man's he must have taken money. Those two chances. The guy is absolutely sizzling hot right now. You know, even my dear old mum, she could have scored those ones. And then the big talking point was Luis Suarez. You know what? He's been watching the Sochi Olympics. I'll give him a 5.9 for the 720 nose butter twisty muck flurry. You know, I mean, it's clear penalty when Oxlade-Chamberlain chops him down, but he added the flourish at the end, and that's probably what's made Howard Webb go, yeah, I'm not so sure about that. At the end of the day, I thought perhaps a draw would have been a fair result for Arsenal and Liverpool, but Arsenal hold on and they still have that chance of getting a trophy, especially the way the draw has been set up. They'll take on Everton next at the Emirates. Elsewhere in the FA Cup, hey, Wigan, hey, big thumbs up, you know, they're really making a good fist of trying to defend their trophy. I thought the result at Cardiff was excellent, although Cardiff definitely on a bit of a downslope at the moment under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But, you know, it's tough for Hugh Rosler to get his team up, especially they've had these European commitments. But, you know, it's been an outstanding cup run for Wigan, although probably over now as they go to Manchester City for the 6th round. A couple of other ties look quite enticing. Sheffield United against Sheffield Wednesday. If Wednesday can beat Charlton. Oh, an all-steel City derby. That one, head-to-head, be a cracker. And then maybe Sunderland taking on Brighton. If Brighton can overcome Charlton. Gus Poyet taking on Brighton. This is the team that sacked him last year in very controversial circumstances. Something about poo being smeared all over a dressing room. Yeah, some stinky business. So some great FA Cup ties coming up. I think the old competition is back, much like me. So boys, I'll speak to you next week. The Premier League will be back. The Champions League will be back. So much to talk about. But don't forget, come visit me at realfootytalk.com. See you, Nick. See you, Danny.
All right. Cheers, Nick. Nick Webster with his view from the terraces. Interesting piece there. Takes a little kind of different viewpoint than me, Danny. I thought it was a bit dull, but, you know, Nick obviously felt otherwise. But, you know, to each their own, right?
Yeah, bringing the fire a little bit. I thought it was dull, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I think the big question left remaining in the FA Cup is whether or not Arsenal have to win this tournament. They have to win this tournament. You're looking at the quarterfinal ties. They have Everton. If they can beat Everton, I mean, looking at the quality of some of the remaining teams, Nick, you're not exactly shaking in your boots,
right?
At the prospect
Sunderland.
Yes, Sunderland or one of the Sheffield clubs, or
the
winner of Brighton Hull. I mean, this is really not. This is perfectly put together for this team. And sure, City are going to be a tough out at some point, but these are the type of matches that you have to win if you want to win silverware. And they've won a couple that they've needed to. They have already knocked out Tottenham and Liverpool. So I just feel like this means a lot for Arsene Wenger, really, the Football Association Cup.
And this is a great segue, Danny, because because what means more to Arsene Wenger, though, quite honestly, is the fact that tomorrow they are facing. They've had their redemption on the back of the 5-1 defeat to Liverpool. They beat Liverpool, knock them out of the FA Cup. Okay, that's some redemption. I said earlier, I thought, it was wishy-washy redemption, but I suppose it was redemption.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow, they got some serious redemption they need to make against Bayern Munich.
Right. I think back to last year against Bayern Munich. It was pretty amazing, Nick, to see them go to the Allianz Arena and really control and sort of boss the game in that second leg. But they were so poor in the first 60 minutes of their home tie. When they take on teams like this, they often really fail to announce themselves and their style of play, I think. And I think we'll know right away what type of match this is going to be. Will Arsenal, will they step up there with some cojones, if you will? Or will they really, just kind of walk out and disappoint everyone?
Well, what do you think, Danny? Give me your prediction. What do you think? How do you think they're gonna turn out tomorrow? Or are they going to be nervous? Are they going to be on pins and needles? Is it one of these matches that Wenger's going to be cagey and not want to lose? Is he going to gamble? How do you think Wenger's going to approach this match?
I think that he will not want to lose, especially on the back of everything that happened with Jose Mourinho last week. I think that the last thing he wants to allow is an "I told you so" moment for Mourinho, which, let's be honest, no one wants to see that, right? No one wants to, have Mourinho say, oh, he's a specialist in failure, and then you go out and lose 4-0 at home to Bayern Munich. Here's the other thing, too, is that if we're looking at Arsenal...
But hold on, Danny, hold on. For Mourinho to say that, though, coming into a weekend where they were beaten by Man City, seems to me that he's talking out of his rather Portuguese posterior.
Well, that's what he does and does well. But that doesn't mean it doesn't lead to sleepless nights for Arsene Wenger.
I don't think it leads to sleepless nights for Wenger. I think Wenger just, cracks a baguette and pours a nice glass of wine and,
double cream brie.
Yeah, right, exactly. God, it all sounds good. Can I quit now and go anyway? That all sounds good. I don't know how much that gets under Wenger's skin. He did have some quotes recently about it saying, Mourinho should just shut up, basically. But I don't know. I don't know if the mind games really work on Arsene.
Here's the hard part about Arsenal tomorrow night and then a few weeks from now taking on Bayern Munich. I think we've learned that for teams to win this trophy, it's very difficult to win it when you have a top-level round of 16 game. You look at Barcelona last year, they had to go through Milan and then through PSG.
Right.
And then finally, by the time they hit Bayern Munich, they're beat down and they get just completely wiped away. You need the Olympiacos game, that United have.
Got a little hiccups there, Danny. Gurgle with some ice water. Get rid of it for you.
Sorry about that, bud. You need Galatasaray if you're Chelsea.
Right. Well, in other words, you need what Man United's draw has been year in and year out, which is easy.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Easy.
But
easy. So Arsenal are not going to win this. All they can win now is the FA Cup. And if they get back to form domestically, they can win the Barclays Premier League. But I don't think, Europe or the domestic title are really very realistic, unfortunately.
I'm really up in the air on the domestic title at this point. The problem that I have is
that's just because they haven't played in a week.
Yeah, that's right. I'm getting withdrawals. We can get back to that another time. But I want to talk about Arsene Wenger's big day out tomorrow at the Emirates against Bayern Munich. He has a lot to prove here. My problem is I don't see Arsene Wenger as as a gambler whatsoever. I mean, I think he has become more and more conservative as he has aged. And I think we're likely to see a fairly cagey approach from Arsenal tomorrow, where they're going to try not to lose as opposed to try to win it. I don't think it's going to be that great of a match.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see how great of a match. The thing is, we build up these games, Nick, and a lot of times in the knockout stages, they just don't end up being great games.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to ask you something. We heard the music sort of hit in there as we go to break. Guitarist from Devo died today.
Yeah, he did. That's a real shame. 61 years old.
Is it a somber day for you, Nick, or what? Tell us a little bit more.
Well, no, I mean it was very sad. He's 61 years old, had a heart attack, and died. He is. It was one of the two brothers. Basically, there were four members of Devo, two sets of brothers. This is one of the not the Mother's Bar brothers, the other ones, and he died. Very sad. But we do have to go to break, Danny. When we come back, we're going to speak with Kartik Krishnaiyer about the Champions League. I do want to get into this Wayne Rooney situation because it is being reported by a newspaper in the UK whose name I'm not going to mention out of respect for the Hillsborough 96. But it is being reported by that newspaper that Wayne Rooney is about to sign a £300,000 a week contract. This is a player that wanted away twice in very recent years. This is a player that Alex Ferguson had on the exit path. I'd like to know how Man United fans feel about this. I'm going to tell you why this is happening, though, when we come back. World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA. Kind of a mellow show today. Nick and Danny, 800-878-PLAY, 800-878-PLAY. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. We'll be joined by Kartik Krishnaiyer from WorldSoccerTalk.com. We'll be right back. right, welcome back. World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline, USA Radio Network. Got a couple of comments. Danny, what's Adway have to say?
Yeah, people commenting, of course, on Twitter, but also commenting on the World Soccer Radio live video stream, which you can find watchwsr.com. And the comment from Adway is, City played well and still lost 2-0. They had no chance in New Camp. Yeah, it really was the Dani Alves goal that changed this whole tie across the board. I mean, you know, City were still in, they were alive at least, and he brings up a good point. They played well and they still couldn't get it done today.
No, absolutely. Right, but bang on. I mean, they played well. They you know, the boneheaded Di Michaelis move was just what it was, and he got sent off.
Should he just let Messi score, basically?
Yeah, maybe, because, you know, you knew a red card was going to come. It was just an ill-timed tackle. Look, it was one of those things that happens. But by the way, I think Adway wrote a really funny comment about the show on Friday where I said I hate Man United, and he said, you know, I hate Man United too, but you're a pundit and you shouldn't be saying things like that. And you know, I say this to you, Adway.
Awesome.
That's what makes our show different. Is I'm going to tell you how I feel. I'm going to tell you what comes from my heart. I'm going to tell you what my passions are. I hate Manchester United. I do try to be honest about them. You know, in my opinions, I'm not going to say, you know, I think they're going to lose 20-0 because I know they're not. So I try to be honest and realistic about it, but you know I hate them. Everybody knows I hate them. So why do I have to wear a false face just because I'm talking to you on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network or on any of these other outlets? Come on, I am who I am, right, Danny?
Yeah, and rather scary who you are sometimes, Nick.
Indeed it can be. Indeed it can be. All right, very quickly
Speaking
before...
of United haters, we got another one with us, don't we?
Who, Kartik?
Yeah, is he here yet?
Yeah, we're going to get to Kartik in 1 second. Before we do,
Okay.
I just want to say there is a newspaper who shall remain nameless that has supposedly some really good inside sources at Old Trafford that are saying Wayne Rooney is about to sign a £300,000 a week contract to keep him there for the next 5 years. That will put him well into his 30s. People are saying, why would United do this? Why would Man United sign a player that's wanted away? Why would Man United pay big money to a player on the backside of his career, essentially, because he is at the peak right now and he's only really got downhill to go? And it's really simple. It's just a pure business move, Danny. He's got 18 months left on his contract. If they don't sign him to a new deal, he will leave for a free and they will get nothing. So they will sign him to a new deal, and if he wants to go, they will move him on, but they will get a transfer fee for him. That's what this is about. This is about business a lot less than it is about putting their arms around and giving a big bear hug to Wayne Rooney.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna let you run the show on this one.
All right. Well,
I just don't know what to think yet. The deal hasn't been announced yet. It's you know, less than 100% reputable paper. I just don't. It just hasn't happened yet.
Wait. Hold on, Danny. Let me tell you. If you want to wait until it's on all the really boring shows here in the United States about it, talking about it after the fact, you can do that. And believe me, there are loads of boring shows online or on satellite radio, whatever it is you want to listen to, that will talk about it. But if you want to talk about it as it's happening, as the deal is breaking, as it's coming down, now is the time to do it. So speak now or forever hold your peace, Paige.
I just don't know what to say, man. You know, I'm just a little.
And you're in radio? What's wrong with you?
I'm deferring to you on this one, Geber. Okay.
Well, I tell you
Let's see what Rooney has to say. Let's see what United fans have to say. I'm, you know.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, let's bring in Kartik Krishnaiyer, a man who is never short of things to say from World Soccer Talk. Hey, Kartik, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How about you guys?
Well, we're doing well. Your take on Wayne Rooney's situation before we talk about your beloved Man City.
Well, that's a lot of money, and that's look. They've got Manchester United now has several players that are essentially repetitive type players. Rooney is an exceptional footballer. There's no question about it, and he's still the best English footballer out there. But I wonder, after they spent $37 million on Juan Mata, they've spent $24 million or $23 million on Robin van Persie, who is always injured. They have a young Danny Welbeck they need to get games. If they might be, it might be time to cash in on Wayne Rooney. I don't know. They have a lot of concerns at that club in the middle of the pitch that they just haven't addressed. And they're digging themselves deeper as far as money's concerned with all these attacking players. So I thought when Mata came in, maybe Rooney was leaving, but obviously that's not the case.
Well, no, I don't see that. I don't see it that way at all, Kartik. I mean, as I just said, look, Rooney has 18 months left on his contract. They're not going to let his contract run out. They're going to re-sign him to a long deal so that they can sell him and make some money for him. Otherwise, in 18 months, he goes and they get Zippo for him. I mean, that to me is what this is. This is a business deal rather than a mutual statement of love between Wayne Rooney and Man United.
Well, then it makes sense, Nick, because I just don't see how they could have just spent 37 million pounds on Juan Mata, who is obviously going to be there long term, and then re-up Wayne Rooney. They're having a lot of problems defensively since Mata came in. Because they're too.
Are you there? Oh, did we lose Kartik? We might have.
Yeah, it seems like it.
We were just getting into the goodies now.
We were just getting to the good stuff.
I was just about to ask him about Man City because he must have been crying into his beer.
No, that's the thing. Is like he's having phone line connection problems the moment we want to start asking him about City. And the thing about Kartik is that Kartik does a great job of being, he's very balanced in the way he provides his opinions, in what he has to say on this show. Especially being such a diehard City supporter.
Yeah.
I mean, he loves Man City. But at the same time, I think he can be very objective on this program, which, occasionally is something that other, hosts on this show can kind of lack sometimes.
By the way,
a certain Englishman sitting, what was that?
By the way, Barney Wilkinson writes, Bernie J on Twitter, he said he thinks that he doesn't think Rooney fits with Moyes' system. He said Man United does other plans with this. He's sure of it. And that's what I'm alluding to here, Danny.
Right. No.
He's back.
It's a good point. You can't just let him run out like that. Just
Cardiff's
like we aren't
back.
going to let we aren't going to let Cardiff just run out like that.
Right.
I guess we have him back on the line.
Yeah. All right, Kartik. So let's get to it, shall we? Man City today. I thought they played pretty well. I certainly don't think they were quote unquote bossed or owned by Barcelona. I thought it was an unfortunate sending off. Di Michaelis was always going to be the weak spot on the team today. I think you pointed that out before the game started. It did indeed come to pass. An almost insurmountable mountain for them to climb right now. But overall, I wouldn't say that they were bossed around by Barcelona. Would you?
No, I wouldn't, and I agree with what Danny was saying earlier, that it was the late goal that was the backbreaker. Because prior to that, it seemed that 1-0, even going back to the new camp, that meant you would have to win there, right? You'd have to win 2-1 or 3-2, something like that. It was manageable. It was possible, based on what we saw from City today, even with 10 men. For about 30 minutes after the Michael was sending off. So really around minute 80 or minute 85, you saw the energy levels drop. A lot of chasing with 10 men that took its toll on City. But, I wonder, a defender's instinct is to lunge, right, and try and make that tackle, as Di Michaelis did when he was beat. You have to wonder, he's a veteran player. He's been in the Champions League a lot with Bayern and Malaga in the past. If you just let Messi go and score at that point, well, and you're still on 11 men, you're in the tie.
Right.
It was a decision, I guess, he made to make that lunge, and that ruined what was turning out to be a pretty good tie. It was looking very good for City. Yeah. In fact, it was looking like Barcelona were running out of ideas.
It's funny, Kartik, if I can
saw coming out of the gates, but after that, they didn't look quite themselves.
Right. It's funny if I can just hold you there, Kartik, because that's exactly what Danny and I were just saying in the last segment. Danny said, well, what do you want him to do? Just go and score? Like, yeah, that's right. Just go and score. I mean, if he's got by, you let him go score. You're going to stay with 11 men. I thought they were.
It's not that easy mentally to just do that.
Well, no.
I
agree,
instincts.
Danny.
There are instincts that athletes have that you and I do not possess.
I'm an athlete, okay? Danny. If I was in Major League eating, I would have the mustard belt. Trust me.
We've known, though, Demi Kalis was going to be a problem all along here, Kartik. I think that City were kind of limited in their choices. And I think something that we haven't gotten into today is where are Barcelona in these big European ties without Messi? They're really struggling. For Real Madrid, without Cristiano Ronaldo, they'd have some issues. If Sergio Aguero had been out there today, I think he could have made a dramatic difference in putting away at least one opportunity, maybe two. And I think they really missed Aguero.
Yeah, I think I agree with both of you actually on Dean McCaleb. I'm saying the smart thing would have been to let him score. However, instinctively, when you're an athlete, as you say, Danny, when you're a defender, which is what he is, you lunge for that ball. You don't let a guy go by you. So that's his instinct. He did it. I'm just saying if he had a moment to think about it, he would have said, let's just concede the goal and stay with 11 men. The Real Madrid and Barcelona, you take Ronaldo or Messi out of the teams, respectively, they're not as strong as Bayern or PSG. Those two teams in particular. I think those two teams are better even with Messi and Ronaldo in the teams. I mean, I guess we'll see about PSG. Yeah. It's a theory that I have that PSG will be tough to beat in the Champions League. Bayern, we know, is going to be tough to beat, right? We know Bayern is loaded. But Barcelona really struggled. They struggled for creativity today, which was what frustrates me as a City supporter, is that we really did bottle them up. As Chelsea did a few seasons ago, as Arsene did before Van Persie got sent off with that second yellow, as Inter did before they were reduced to 10 men the year that they played them in the semifinals. So there's something missing from this Barcelona team for sure.
Yeah. Hey, Andre Koziol says that he says, I swear I never see Barcelona win against big teams without controversy in the Champions League. That was free kick and red Barcelona floppers. So that's an interesting way to look at it, I think.
Yeah, you go back to 2009 and the Chelsea semifinal, which obviously was shrouded in controversy. Yeah. 2010, Inter got past them, but if you remember, there was a lot of controversy in that game, and it's just gone on and on and on.
He's absolutely right. I mean,
Van Persie's sending off. Yeah. You remember that one? PSG last year.
This is what I'm saying, though, guys. This is exactly what I'm saying about the global love affair.
A second yellow in that situation for as Van Persie got. I've never seen it in the game other than that one time.
Never.
This is
the only time I've ever seen that.
Yeah. This is exactly what I'm saying about the global love affair.
Time. People forget that. They were ahead 1 on aggregate, I think, or 3-2 on aggregate.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it's that's just Barcelona. Look, I don't think they look the best team out there. PSG today looked rampant. I mean, they made Leverkusen look like a bunch of babies out there as they just slammed them 4-0. It was the Zlatan show. You have to look at them. We're going to have a good match tomorrow with the champions against Arsenal. So a lot more to look at. But right now, I wouldn't think Barcelona were the favorites in my mind. All right, Kartik Krishnaiyer, always a pleasure, man. We'll have to have you back on next week, as we always like to. And once the Prem, we get another weekend of Prem under our belt, so we can take another look at your beloved city.
Great. Thank you, guys.
All right, cheers. Kartik Krishnaiyer. So I apologize to everyone for the delay there. We had a really long delay on that call, and don't know why, but we did. All right, we're going to go to break. We'll be right back. World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA. Nick and Danny with you. Those are interesting points, though, Danny, specifically about Barcelona. I just don't think they look great. I mean, they won, fine, great, but I mean, it wasn't the type of performance that you look and it wasn't an ooh performance.
They were away to the best team in England. What do you want?
All right, get off your knees, Danny. Messi's done. All right. Oh. Right. All right, we'll be back after this. I apologize for that. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. All right, we'll be right back. right, welcome back to the show, World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA. By the way, just a programming note, we are with you each and every weeknight, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Sports Byline USA network. Also, American Forces, TuneIn.com, iHeartRadio.com. You can see a live video stream of this program. It's not just a video stream, folks. This is like a live TV show, almost. Pretty close to it. You can see it all on WatchWSR.com. It's not just a stream, camera with a couple of knobs in the studio talking. We are actually...
it kind of is.
Yeah, kind of. All right. Anyway, join us. Tomorrow, we'll be back on the air with you. We will be talking, of course, about the big matches in the Champions League tomorrow. Look, the Arsenal-Bayern Munich match, for me, I think it's going to be much more interesting than the Man City-Barcelona match was today. Danny, I don't think Barcelona looked that great. They get the win, absolutely. They get the 2 away goals. Look, they got it done. There's no denying that.
Right.
But it wasn't, as Ray Hudson says, an orchestra against the guys with the triangles that go clink. I'm sorry, I just didn't see it that way. This is sort of Barcelona love that we just got to temper sometimes and call it for what it is.
As we press on in the show, I'm kind of agreeing with you more and more. I think that Barcelona were the better team today. They deserved the result that they got. For me, tomorrow, it's all about Olivier Giroud.
Yep.
Can he take advantage of that one opportunity or maybe 2 opportunities that he and his team get? And if not, they will not win the match.
Hey, Danny, I noticed you've, as you said, changed your tune as the show's gone on. I believe there's a career for you in politics. So,
Thank you. I have been watching House of Cards lately.
Keep going where you're going. All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up for us. Again, kind of a low-energy show today. We apologize, but we will be back on speed tomorrow for you, okay? Even if we have to go get our prescriptions. Coming up next here on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network, the Messi of broadcasting, the Ronaldo of the airwaves, the Suarez of the radio, Mr. Ron Barr, right here on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network. Do yourself a favor, folks. Stay tuned. You'll love Ron's show. He is a true legend. You'll do yourself a big favor with that. Meanwhile, we'll speak to you tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a great evening. From me, Nick.
And me, Danny.
Have a good one and stay safe.
Y'all have a good night now.